Time for us to look at stories that have made it to the front pages of the newspaper. Starting off with Daily Trust, we have boldly there on the Daily Trust newspaper: Nigeria to UN, probe Boko Haram's funding and training. CDS suspects international conspiracy. You could find that on page 4. Now we also have boldly on the left-hand side: federal government hits at new national carrier. Expect tariff hike soon from telcos, or expect tariff hike from telcos soon, says the minister. You find that on page 20. 11 killed, 31 houses razed in Jigawa ethnic crisis. Now on the bottom there we have driver napped with 59 trafficked children in the FCT. And then you'd find that on page 16, 25% implementation of 2024 budget unacceptable, says the National Assembly. On page 5, China approves $255 million loan for Kano-Kaduna Railway project. And finally, policeman accepts Islam 2 years after rejecting $200,000 bribe. Now, if you're interested in any of the stories that are here, do want to grab yourself a copy of the Daily Trust newspaper and keep yourself informed.
All right, we move on to the Punch newspaper, and leading the major story there, it's on the e-border project. It says FG 9 billion e-border project fails to stop bandits, illegal aliens. With the riders, illegal Niger Cameroonian immigrants infiltrate Jigawa, Taraba, borders automated, insist the Interior Minister. Automation is one thing. I don't think aliens and terrorists coming through the proper channels. We have over 1,000 unmanned section of our borders, but whatever they meant by that. Emefiele loses bid to stop $4.5 billion and $2.8 billion fraud trial. Ganduje tackles Obi as APC spokesman receives 200 death threats. Really? Court orders for feature of 228 million linked to ex-governor Orji. An interesting one there: Air Chief celebrate NAV's engineers for reviving moribund aircraft. EFCC detains 10 officers for stealing cash and gold exhibit. Tension rises as government kill 18 in Imo communities. And the last one there: backbiters behind my kangaroo impeachment. Makinde's ex-deputy.
All right, now moving on to The Guardian. Now boldly on Guardian there we have anxiety as execution of federal government's free cesarean initiative stalls. Says the initiative to cost the federal government between 200,000 and 300,000 naira per delivery. Pregnant women, care workers unaware of modalities. Still there, federal government criticized over jumbo perks for military, politicians and others. Students stay away in Calabar despite school resumption. And we also have Bauchi government budget 400 million naira to procure 6 computers for SSG's office. What type of computer?
Maybe they failed to put supercomputers.
Still there, EFCC detains probes 10 operatives from Lagos Command for theft. No plan to revive Nigerian air deal with Ethiopian Airlines, federal government clarifies. And the National Assembly condemns poor 2024 budget execution, demands urgent reforms. These are the stories we have on the front page of The Guardian.
All right, coming to the studio now, we have already seated one of your regular favorite, the editor-in-chief of Dateline newspaper, Malan Nasrullah. It's a pleasure to have you join us in the studio.
Good morning. It's good to be here.
Well, the interesting story on the front page of the Daily Trust, which sort of responds to some of the issues that we have seen in the last couple of days, which was the coordinated attack on military formation, is the comment by the CDS around how, now calling for probes, as it were, from the United Nations to particularly unravel what appears to be some international dimension to this. Is this something that we are just discovering? What did you make of what now appears like the first major kind of help that we seem to be seeking as far as this fight is concerned that has lasted for over a decade and a half?
Well, I think I will start by commending Daily Trust, for giving the story this prominence, because even though the CDS, granted that interview and it was aired on a Sunday, I think, so many people didn't get to watch it. In fact, so many people were not even aware that there was that interview. But looking at, some of the things that the Chief of Defense Staff actually said, of course, it's only very important that the Daily Trust, decided to give it more prominence so that Nigerians will get to see, even the thinking, of the officer that is supposed to be, like running the show when it comes to fighting terrorism in Nigeria. Of course, you may expect, things like this to have some international dimension, but I see that as trying to sublet our problems to the United Nations. And I don't think the United Nations, just like one of the columnists of Daily Trust wrote today, is not an intelligence gathering institution. The only thing they can do is just to facilitate some of the things that you have already, started working on. And if that is the case, then it's the responsibility of the Nigeria and its institutions to find a way of checkmating the international dimension to this, and then find a way of, curtailing this issue as it is. He made so many statements in that interview, like whenever we go out to get the weapons that we need, we're always frustrated and what have you. Pakistan, they are now self-sufficient, when it comes to fighting all this insurgency that they have. If you go to Iran, in fact, as far back as 1988, Iran is they don't need anybody to supply them with helicopters, with so many weapons. But here is Nigeria, our DIC or DICON, they are more popular now for doing salt, furniture and what have you. Even though I know recently there was this landmark achievement that, was displayed all over the place. They were able to do, they were able to do drones, they were able to do all this MRAP and what have you, that even some African countries are now patronizing. But honestly, what the Chief of Defense Staff said, there are so many things that did not put, Nigeria and its security institutions in good light. Because it's like we are not getting the right intelligence. 15 years that we have been fighting insurgency in Nigeria, we are still expecting some people to come to our aid. Honestly, I don't think Nigerians will have confidence that the government can arrest this, within the shortest possible time.
All right, let's move to Guardian now. Bauchi government budgets 400 million to procure 6 computers, for the SSG's office.
Well, like Mr. Sunday said, probably they forgot to include supercomputers, but I don't think that amount, I think it's on the high side. And for all these computers may be there, we are not even going to make the best use of them. But if we have a very functional state assembly, this is something that they should be interested in. What sort of computers do you need to spend such huge amount of money on? And then what will they be doing that, other computers will not be able to achieve? Because right now, there are so many computers that you can get at, $1 million plus, or less even, which can do so many things. But I don't know, probably they are talking about supercomputers that we have not seen.
Or gold-crested computers. We're just trying to understand, perhaps they are saying something we don't know about. We will learn of the characteristics as time goes on. Yesterday, the government came up with all kinds of clarification, but bottom line, it does appear that they're interested in another national carrier. We have been on this national carrier path since the return to democracy. Every kind of experiment we have done around it had failed flat, before our very face. What sense does it make to want to go back that route again?
I think they are more interested in all the contracts, that are likely to come out of it, because I don't think you have to make this public at this particular point in time, when Nigerians have not even finished, digesting all the things we heard about, the failed Nigeria Air project. Actually, I think one or two of the corruption fighting agencies in Nigeria is looking at, the last aviation minister and the things that he did, with regards especially to the Nigerian Air. And then here you are, rather than discuss things that, matter at the moment, like exorbitant cost of air tickets, like delayed flights, like all states trying to come up with airports non-functional and all that, and then we are still talking about Nigeria. I am not saying it's not important to have a national carrier, but honestly, you shouldn't do that at the expense of other things that you need to have in time.
All right, now we're seeing tariff hikes soon from telcos. It's almost like everything is increasing in the country and they've just been mute since. And when I saw the story the first time, it was like, okay, what's going on? And it just disappeared, and now it's back again, and they're telling us to expect it. What are your thoughts on this? Will we see things normalize in Nigeria at this point in time?
Well, I think we should not isolate the telecom companies from other players in the Nigerian economy. So many people have reviewed the cost of their services and all that. I'm not saying that they are justified in trying to increase the tariff, but what I find interesting actually is the response of the minister. He's saying that he's trying to assure Nigerians that it's not going to be 100%. Of course, he may be right. It may be 99.9, which is still not 100%. But we are talking about what telecom services have become to the ordinary Nigerian. So many people can no longer travel because of the nature of our roads, the insecurity and what have you. So they rely on, their telephones to do so many things. And now if you make that, beyond what they can afford, honestly, we are just like trying to push people down the ladder. So I think the minister, he said NCC is likely to come up with, the agreed new rate. I hope it's not going to be somewhere around 80–90%, because if that is the case, they may as well just go ahead with the 100%. Yeah. But if it is around 50%, well, I hope we just find a way of surviving it, like we have been surviving other things.
Borrow from the president's analogy, maybe you now have to call once in a day instead of calling 10 times. For him, that is prudence. Two things I would like you to respond to in the next 2 minutes as we round up. One is the driver that was nabbed with 59 traffic children in the FCT. And the other one is the National Assembly describing 25% performance of the 2024 budget as abysmal. And we have seen this is at the same time when the government is running several other budgets. 2022 component is still running, 2023 component is running, plus it's the extra appropriations, and now the 2024, and obviously we now have a 2025. What do you think should be done about this terrible performance, budget performance, to improve delivery?
Okay, let me start with the driver that was arrested with the 59 children. I remember, Frank Olize, anytime he's on air, he will say, it's 9 o'clock, do you know where your children are? So many parents have abandoned that responsibility. They don't know, where their kids, where they hang, and so many things like that. So I blame parents, that things like this are continuing to happen. And if you look at it, this man left Kano, all the way from Kano, and he was intercepted in Abuja. All the checkpoints, all the security agencies we have, none, found it expedient to ask a question until he arrived at the FCT. Probably that's even his destination, who knows. And as for the second one, the budget performance, I remember when the president presented the 2025 budget estimate before the National Assembly. It was the same Senate president that was all over the place, congratulating the president for, his success in implementing. And here we are talking about just 25% of the capital component, which means there are so many roads that have not been done. There are so many infrastructure-wise that we have not done anything, or the best we have done is just 25%. So it doesn't look as if...
and obviously we will see 100% in the overhead and the current expenditure.
Certainly, if we are not even borrowing to actually complement that.
All right. Today has been a very interesting show, as we promised from the beginning. It's promised delivered. We are not like the Nigerian politicians, I can assure you. We promise quality conversations. We promise insightful analysis and perspective, and we have delivered on every of those mandates at the onset of this flight. Now we have landed safely, as we say in the Nigerian parlance. We hope you had a good show, and we look forward to you joining us tomorrow on another interesting package. I want to thank you very much for finding time to be here.
Thank you for having me.
And also guaranteeing that you will be here next week. So I've taken make that promise on your behalf. And Sunday, Michael Ogu, please keep it there with us tomorrow.
And I am Lilian Ogazi. Thank you so much for sticking around. At the top of the hour, we'll be having sports with Ajishafe. We'll also have business, and we'll have our news hour. So do well to stay, because we still have a lot packed for you.
Have you seen the video of the new Nigerian coach when he was almost collapsing at the last AFCON for bad results?
We hope the sports will press their neck on that one.
All right.
What? All right. Goodbye. See you tomorrow. We'll be leaving now. We'll see you tomorrow. Same time, same station. Have a great day ahead.